Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the official Hermitcraft Modsauce server. Are you excited for some mod sauce? I know that I am. These creepers back here, they are getting killed to death. Killed to death, yes. An incorrect use of English language. Someone said that to me once and I thought I'll never forget that. Killed to death. There you go. Look at these guys coming down with top hats. Oh, this is ridiculous. Yes, our creeper farm is working just like it was before. I've also just noticed there is a little heart that dropped there. Let's actually try and pick that thing up. At the moment we don't really have a proper system for collecting all the things these guys are dropping. And it doesn't seem to have picked it up. Let's see if this side will get it. No. Oh, there it is. Excellent. Okay, we got another miniature heart. This is something I actually want to do in this episode, is look into crafting one of these. These can give you extra hearts. Oh, look at that. Miniature red heart crafting item. Part of a low-level heart canisters can be eaten to restore 10 hearts. Oh, I thought the heart canisters gave you extra hearts. I'll have to look into that and figure that out. Yes, the room here is complete, by the way. I'm getting totally distracted. I've finished the other side. The blaze spawner has been upgraded. I say blaze spawner, it's a blaze farm. There's blaze spawners in it, and there's also glowstone in it as well. And there's glowstone in this room, and it looks amazing because chisel works with glowstone. How cool is that texture at the top? This room is certainly looking nice. I'm looking forward to doing more things to it, like perhaps building a little control panel over here. I feel like in the middle of the room it needs something extra. But yes, this is looking good. And what we're going to be doing in today's episode is trying to create some sort of like item filtering system to filter out the items that we don't want and to transport them automatically into our storage area. And you guys have been giving me some tips and advice, and I've got a couple of comments with some instructions that I'm going to be trying to follow to implement those ideas. So anyway, let's go up top and just have a look at what I've done up here as well. You can see we've got the drawbridges on this side, and on this side I actually need to turn this off to show you what I want to show you. And yes, some of you have probably noticed that the blaze spawner is still working even though we've got the glowstone over there. That's because the light level conditions for blazes are different, and I was pretty sure that was going to happen when I put them in like this, so we actually need an extra drawbridge or two. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but there you go. So these ones over here are made out of the chisel texture, and on this side this is smelted glowstone. And it's a little bit orange and bright for me, but another cool thing you can do there, smelted glowstone. You could probably smelt anything with these mods, they are awesome. Anyway, let's have a look at the chisel and the glowstone, because I'm not too keen on either of those textures. I'm thinking that we should pick one of these ones for our spawners. Maybe that one or that one. Maybe you guys can pick down in the comments. But another thing I want to show you is this texture right here. I think that looks absolutely lovely. As soon as I saw that one, I thought, when we get to making some buildings that have got more of a wood theme to them, that one is going to fit in ever so nicely as a light source. Of course, I am being a complete dummy. I need to... no, wait a minute. I can't pick it back up, can I? Yeah, it's just going to break into glowstone until we get ourselves Silk Touch. And by the way, XP has been awesome. He's come over here and donated even more glowstone, which is fantastic. That is going to do me for the short term at least. So, before we get to this, before we get to making our little item filters and transporting these items, I have no idea how it's going to work. I want to show you just one or two more things. We have a advanced item collector over here. Now this thing, you can actually program the radius from it in which it picks items up. Now I think this is in each direction, so you can go all the way up to 10, and if we were to do that, I think it means it goes 10 blocks out. So it's always going to be able to pick up the block that it's in, and it will go out 10 blocks on each direction, so you can kind of double that in your mind. And you can do that vertically and on all the axes, which means it is very programmable. And I've also just noticed this filter. By the way, this was the advanced item collector King Daddy DMAC left me, and this thing right here, I'm not sure how these work, but it's an item filter, so it probably filters items. I don't know. I'm going to look into that in a moment, but this is a good thing. This might help us a lot with transporting those items. And one more thing that I wanted to mention is that, yes, we are using the vanilla spawners here. I am very aware that there is something called soul shards that can make spawners that spawn a ridiculous amount of these mobs, but what I want to do when playing these is just go step by step through everything. I don't want to jump straight to the end game and the best things that you can do. I kind of want to work my way from vanilla into the mods, and so doing a project like this is very fun for me and hopefully for you guys as well. Anyway, enough rambling. I tend to ramble a lot at the beginning of these videos. It's just because I'm excited about all the things that we can do. So I'm going to start working on these item filters, and that guy has a very strange hat. It almost looked like Biffa on the side there. I didn't quite see it. I guess we'll have to wait till later to get that one. I haven't really unlocked any more hats, by the way. I've just been playing around here at the farm, not been killing too many mobs, so that's the status update on the hats. I am really rambling here. Let's do a little cut. Oh, these mods, they are absolutely crazy. They're like a big time suck where you just get sucked in after one thing after another, but I have made some progress here. It may not look like a lot, but I'm going to show you what I've been doing. And first of all, I do want to talk about something quickly. Let's turn off this farm. Those guys are making a lot of noise. If you just have a look at this wall over here, notice where these blocks are and the way the texture is around the edge. And then over here, notice how it's slightly different. You can see it more at the bottom than the top. The reason for this is because behind there is cobblestone blocks and they are joining textures, and I just noticed that little detail and I actually think it looks nicer on this side, and I did that when I was building the wall. I was just trying to save on the materials where you couldn't see them. In fact, I've done the same thing on the ground and that looks nicer. I think I did the same thing on the ground over here. No, you can see that there's no well, the texture's joined, so there's no edge at the bottom here, and it definitely looks nicer like that. So that's a nice little detail that I want to keep in mind with these textures, because they connect. Anyway, enough about that. Let's go down here and have a look at our filtering system. So, if you remember, King Daddy DMAC dropped us off some items. One of those things was an advanced item collector, and inside this there was actually a filter. I didn't notice this, and by right-clicking on it to open it, you can see how this thing works. So you can program a... didn't we do this a minute ago? I think we already did this. I showed you this. So I've set up the filter. Yes, that's right. Okay. So we have a trash can down here. It's pretty straightforward. You put an item into it and then it's destroyed forever, which is pretty cool. A very useful block. And then on the other side we have a chest. So the item filters that we have in the two of these, and both of these are set up the same way, are the same. You see this one has blaze rod, blaze powder, miniature red heart and a mob skull for the blaze, and it's blacklisted, so it means it ignores all of those items and picks up the other ones. And so this one over here will then have the same items and it's whitelisted, so it picks up those items. The reason I've done it like that is so there's no conflict between the two, you know, there's no overlapping or priority over which one picks up which. They are both just programmed for this one to pick up the items we want and for that one to destroy all and ignore the ones that we do want, which is pretty cool. The logic there worked out nicely, and I've done the same thing on this side over here. So the next thing for us to do, let's just have a little check. Well, that would appear to not be working, although I've got a feeling this happened and then I fixed it earlier on. Let's just have a look. Okay, so that should work. That's on whitelist. We're going to have to chuck these items out and then come back here later and check on that just to make sure that it works. But now that we've got the items that we want into a single chest, and if I press Q, this is going to be a lot easier, isn't it? There we go. Oh, is it picking them back up? Or is it the one on the other side picking them up? It's probably that one picking them up and putting them in the trash, which is good, because it means that this one didn't pick them up. Anyway, I will come back and check on that in a moment. So, now that we've got the items that we want into a chest on either side, that being the iron chest, what we want to do is move them into our storage area. And I've been hanging out with Zul'jin and Slip in TeamSpeak, and I did do some recording. Unfortunately, all of my volume was muted at the time, so I can't put that in the video for you really, but Slip gave me this magnum torch, and this thing is absolutely crazy. I think if you press this to see it. Okay, this is the crafting recipe for this thing. First of all, this is not a regular crafting grid, this is some sort of machine. Slip was telling me about it. Apparently it's very expensive and grindy, and this thing is made out of chandeliers, and look at that. That is an interesting crafting recipe, but apparently these actually work as a lighting source, so that's something I'd like to check out later on. But anyway, the function of the magnum torch is to stop mobs spawning in a 64 by 64 area around where you place it. And the reason he gave me this is because when we were hanging out, a creeper wandered into the base and almost destroyed part of our smeltery, which is a good thing it didn't. And now we don't really have to worry about that again, because this thing is going to stop mobs spawning in that radius. But apparently if you enclose this thing as well, so it can't emit light, it's still going to stop the mob spawning. So if ever you're doing some dark room building, you know, maybe you're building an underground base and you want it to be dark and gloomy, then you can use these torches to prevent mob spawning, which is absolutely fantastic. A really nice thing to have available. Anyway, back to the item transferring. If we have a look at these chests over here, I have found some stuff from Extra Utilities. This is a transfer system right here. We have transfer nodes on the side of our chests, transfer pipes, and filters for these pipes as well. So it should be pretty straightforward to understand how this is going to work. With the transfer node, you can put some items into a chest. Let's put this glowstone in here, and then it's going to send all of the items out over to this one over here. Now I was talking to Slip about how this works. He was explaining a lot of stuff, and there is another type of node called a retrieval node, and unfortunately this uses that same crafting thing like we saw a moment ago. So it's somewhere down here, and I accidentally crafted a load of these as well, these transfer nodes, and I've just noticed that my FPS has dropped dramatically there for a second. Let's go back into here and find the retrieval node. There we go, retrieval node for items. It uses this thing again, the QED crafting grid, and as Slip was describing, that's just another rabbit hole of crafting and chasing things down in the mods to make this. But the retrieval node, it will do the opposite of this. If you have a retrieval node on a chest, at the other end if there's a chest attached, so let's imagine this is a retrieval node, it's going to be configured for an item. So let's say you put oh, apparently you can do this. I don't know what this does. But you'd say, let's say we put gunpowder there, then if there's gunpowder in the other end of the chest, it would then pull it into its own one, which would be really good for our storage area, because we could have one of these behind every single chest that we have, and then for every item that chest holds, it can just pull it out whenever it's in the one at the other end, which is pretty cool. But unfortunately we can't do that until we get further into this mod, which might take me some time. Anyway, so the filters on each of these, if you right click on them, they are color coded for each of these 6 axes, because they have 6 of them when you've got one of these on all sides. They have a color coded thing, you can put an item into that. So yellow for cobblestone, that's going to go into that chest there, and this one is stone, and this one is stone bricks, and that's just for a little test that we're going to do right here. So if we put a little bit of dirt in here, we'll put in some stone and some stone bricks and some cobblestone as well, and we're going to see where these go. Let's just wait for those items to leave. There we go, you can see it's not the fastest of speeds, but our cobblestone's gone into that chest, our stone into that one, our stone bricks into that one, and then representing, you know, miscellaneous items is the dirt over here. Now what's interesting is if you attach another chest, let's put one there on the side so it's before the filters, and we put in some of the stone which is on the filters, then it's actually just going to go into this chest. So it's not like this system even has the power to determine that actually those items need to go over here because of the filter. It's just going to go in the path that it goes in, if that even makes any sense. And I haven't really experimented with, you know, the track branching off in different directions, but for now it doesn't really matter because this is going to be able to do what we want it to do, and it's not going to do it in the most glamorous of ways, but behind where we're storing our items from these farms, which we're going to send over to our storage system down below, we can do it like this. We can have a pipe on our iron chest down below, we're going to have a transfer node, and then it's just going to send it through to our storage area where we'll have our filters putting them into the correct places. So hopefully I explained that well enough. Now it's time for me to implement it. I'm sure that is going to take some time. We're definitely going to have to expand the area down here for these new items, and I'm going to test actually and see if they go into barrels as well, because it'd be nice to have those items on some barrels. Every time I hit that record button, the first thing I want to say is that these mods are crazy. Once again, I've just been sinking in some time to doing this, and I've got to say it hasn't turned out too great. I've been using these better barrels, and the crafting for this is pretty damn tedious. And you can see these ones are different. These ones are grey and the ones over here are brown, and that's because I found out how to upgrade them to the next level. So what I did is, using the NEI subsets, is just highlight the mod for Jabba so we can see all of the different items and their crafting recipes, which I wasn't able to find in any wikis. So you can see the next one uses iron, the one after that uses gold and diamond and obsidian, endstone and emerald, all the way up to the top there. And just crafting them up to this one with the extra storage was pretty tedious. We've got these ones in here which increase the storage by 3 times the amount, so you get 250 stacks max in there, so that's 4 times what a regular barrel holds. Now we have already got more than that amount of gunpowder, so this thing is probably not going to be suitable in the long run for our storage system. And there is another slight logistic problem that I've run into here. When we had a look at these filters before, we were just presuming they go in one path, whereas here the path actually splits up because we've got these stacked up. Now there might be a way to disconnect these pipes in which we could go through one way and then come back, but at the moment we have that problem. However, it does seem to be smart. It does feel like the items are coming through, although I haven't really had too much time to test it. It's now late, and so in between this recording and the next I'll do some testing to make sure this works, but the items have been coming through. It's been a bit sluggish. It hasn't felt like I can stand here and see all of the items come through one by one. They tend to turn up in groups, which is interesting, but they are the 8 items that come out of our 2 farms at the moment, so hopefully we'll be able to fill those barrels up as we go along and make life a little easier. But I've got to say, I'm not really digging the Jabba system for the barrels. They feel just a little bit tedious, and this system isn't working too well, it feels like. But anyway, let's go down and have a look at what I've done. We've got a transfer node, so that's going to send all the items from this chest over to that one on that side. And then if we go over to this side, You may have noticed that I swapped the trash can and the iron chest around. I actually placed down the pipe and it went straight into the trash can, and I got worried that I was going to destroy some of our items, but we have a ludicrous amount of them. Anyway, it then goes off in that direction and up those dirt blocks. I was going to say stone bricks, and I'm thinking, why am I thinking of stone bricks? That's dirt. Yeah, just up the top there is where the pipe goes at the other end. So I'm happy with that for now. I'm going to test it. We might move on to something else this episode, but there are a few other little things I'm going to do in between as well while we're testing. So I've been getting a little bit carried away with doing some building here. Decided to fix up the room, make it bigger, put some space behind the barrels for a storage system, because we're probably going to have pipes pointing into all of these things. And as I've gotten carried away here, I've been doing some of the marble blocks in the ceiling with the chisel, and they look alright. They blend quite well with these blocks. You may notice they are actually different. But where I've added a little bit of detail, I think it's really quite nice. Adds just like a little extra in here. And the light source looks cool as well. But I think this would have looked a little better if I had thought of it in advance. Had a little more planning, add some depth to the ceiling. But anyway, I think it's looking good. However, I've got this feeling I might change up the wood material on the side now. And I might change the floors as well. I don't know, there's a lot that I want to change as I'm learning about all these different blocks we can do with chisel. But as for the storage system, it isn't going quite to plan. As you can see, most of our materials have made their way over here, with the exception of gunpowder. Only 11 stacks in there. I'm sure I sent over a lot more than that. Anyway, if we go around the back and have a look in this chest, you can see that some of the items made their way into here. Now notice that there's a witch heart, some blaze rods, blaze powder and skulls. If we go around to the front, 3 of those things are on the top and one of them's on the bottom, so it's not giving us a clear indicator of what's happening here. For example, if they were all the ones on the top that were getting missed, then you could assume that perhaps the items would go down and then across without going across the top. So I think we might look at using some different pipes. I know there's lots of options in these mod packs, but I want something that will go through each of the barrels one by one, so that way we can have the track start at one end, like over here, go through all of our barrels all the way around to the other side, and then at the end we can have this chest, so it will go past all of the places it can go to first. But it looks like I need to do further testing at the moment. Kind of a little disappointed with how this has turned out. I guess I'll have to look into some other mods for storage and pipes, but I'm definitely going to test the gunpowder again, because I'm sure I sent a lot more of that over. And that's all I've been doing, by the way. I haven't really done anything else around here yet. The place is starting to get a little bit messy with all these chests lying around, so I think getting the storage system sorted out at the moment would be a priority. So I took everything out of those ones, and I didn't take these ones over here. Okay, maybe I didn't send that much gunpowder over. And guess what? My inventory is a mess, so I'm going to go tidy that up quickly. Well, I found myself at a little bit of a loss with the storage system, so I thought for the end of this episode we'd just do something different. And on my list of things to do in the mods, which is a big list, I have something you guys have been recommending in the comments for a while now. So by the way, we're at the bottom of the middle of the village. This is where my branch mine is located, and I have a new tool in my hand. This is a hammer, and if we take a look at it, it has auto smelt and luck on it, and luck is obviously the tinker's equivalent of fortune. So the auto smelt, we know what that does. It's going to smelt the item if possible, but if you combine this with luck or fortune, it's going to actually give you multiple items that are smelted. And I might be able to demonstrate this to you right now if I hit one of these. Yep, look at that, we got 2 ingots from it. Isn't that awesome? That is very cool. So this isn't the most useful of things, I think, until we get the full fortune on it, because what we might be able to get is more than the normal amount that you would actually get. Okay, the water is out of the way. What I was trying to say is that with the auto smelt and the luck, we might be able to get more ingots than we get out of putting the ore directly into a smeltery in Tinker's Construct. So if we can get an average of 2 or more, then it's worth using this thing when we go branch mining. Now, one thing I'm a little unsure of here is the amount of lapis you put into this. I put in a lot of my lapis supply into this, and the maximum is 450, but unlike with adding speed to an item, I think this is just one big deal right here, because if you look at the bottom, the fortune is already level 2, so when we go all the way up to 450, I think that's just going to be over fortune 3, and so it's just one modifier, I think is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, let's try this thing on some diamonds. How many are there? Just 2. Oh, we got 3. Okay, that's good to know. So if you can't smelt it, you're going to get the luck as well. That makes a lot of sense. And yes, we might have to increase this to the full level to actually get all of it from it. But we also get stone, which is nice when you're mining because it means you don't have to go and smelt it when you need it later. Not the biggest of perks, but it is certainly something. Anyway, let's get the rest of these diamonds. And we got 11 of those. I just realised that I actually already had one in my inventory, because I'm going to show you something with that in a moment even. And there probably could have been 8 diamond ore there. I wasn't really counting, but we got 10, so we know that the fortune is working. So I think it's probably worth me filling up the rest of that with another 15 blocks of lapis. By the way, I only put, I think, 30 blocks. Yeah, 30 blocks of lapis and 30 pieces. So each of them count as 10. And oh, that's gone up again. I thought it was 302. It's now 305. So there's something that you can do when you mine with this that actually increases that number. That is interesting. I did not know that. It could be worth saving my lapis and actually just using this more often to fill it up. How's it gone up again? Ah, okay, it's gone up to 307, and that's happened while I've just been mining these blocks and not been doing anything like, grabbing diamonds or any types of ore. So maybe it's just on the amount of blocks that you actually mine that it goes up. Look at that, it's up to 308. Okay, I'm not putting any more lapis on this. I'm going to do a round of mining to get that all the way up to the top. But anyway, we should head back up to the surface. There are just a couple more things that I want to show you. So this thing has no modifiers remaining, and we can actually add modifiers to it by adding a block of gold and a diamond, and I think there's 2 other recipes you can use as well. We've probably discussed this before, so you can add 3 more modifiers to it. Now what I was just thinking about is adding the speed enchantment to this, because this is obviously slightly slower. Now as an alternative to having this on a hammer, the luck and the auto smelt, we could have it on a pick, but the thing is when you're branch mining and you're going through with a hammer, you want it to go through really fast, and often you don't really notice that you're actually mining different ores. So it'd be a good idea to add speed on this as well, which I think is something we're going to focus on doing over time. What I could have done is actually taken this thing right here and added fortune and auto smelt to it. I could have done things the other way around there, but I don't mind. This is all just learning, and I'm going to be able to gather more materials for it in the future, so it's fine by me basically. Anyway, I have repaired things around here as well. You may notice that the carpenter's blocks are back. Those bugs have been fixed, and so I've just tidied everything up. We've got the slopes on the inside of this area, we've got our stairs back, the little details here on the smeltery, and everything is looking good again, which is awesome. But I think that's going to wrap things up for this episode. As always, if you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like. It will always be appreciated, and thanks for watching. I will catch you next time.